It's time to discuss gorgeous George. George Galloway. I think the reason of course loads of people are talking about him, but there's no getting away from it. Last Thursday's by-election result was a cracker.
It's incredible.
The first thing I tweeted was that basically if there'd been an SNP in England, George wouldn't have got the votes. Basically, the trouble is in England, they've got a situation, all three parties are so similar. No one's standing up for the ordinary people. They're all standing up for the working people.
But it's also it's Tammany Hall. You know, it's the Islamists. The minority communities can get their vote out.
Well, but
You know.
the first impressions on that were blown out of the water by an analysis. Apparently, 3 of the 7 wards were non-Asian.
Everybody voting for him. It wasn't just Asians.
It was the working class voted for him as well.
The papers are leading us astray on that one.
You mean they're lying?
Oh, do you mean that
Shock.
they'd never ever do that?
Yeah, I mean, they
Why
never
are
let
they
the truth
surprised?
never let the truth get in the way of a good story when you're a journalist.
Gorgeous George Galloway. So I see you've got a photograph of him looking rather like a naughty.
Oh, that was in '82. This is a very good article by Alf Young in last Saturday's Scotsman. But you were just talking there about. I mean, when having a look at it, as it would say here, those who comment from within the mainstream political bubble frequently exhibit scant understanding of the consequences of the great crash that we've had and how it is affecting people's thought, and what you just said, Stewart, about that, how they're all giving out the same mantra. Nobody's looking at
How would you tell the difference?
ordinary people, you know.
The Labour Party are scared in a Southern England context to say, oh well, we don't agree with your economic policies, because the Tories and the Lib Dems just turn around and say, well, you brought the country to rack and ruin, and you will again.
Which they haven't. I mean, it was a worldwide banking scandal, which again, Labour and none of them actually.
I'm sorry, you have to point at Gordon Brown, who was the Chancellor that deregulated the banks in this country.
Seldom
Gordon
seen
Brown.
Gordon Malby.
Well, the banks
Seldom seen Gordon.
Seldom, invisible Gordon Brown.
the banks were deregulated long before that. I mean,
Yeah, he loosened the ties. And
he didn't re-regulate.
Well, I don't know
In
why
fact,
you're defending Gordon Brown. Right?
I'm not. Sorry. In 2007, when he did his Mansion House speech, and he stood there lauding the bankers, how we should have more of this risk, capitalism, everything else. He was enthralled, like Blair and like most of New Labour, to these people that could drag money out of bubbles. And then the next year, it all fell down around his ears. He didn't cause the crash, the bankers caused the crash. He didn't do anything to help stop it or regulate it. But he wasn't the only one. It was right across Western Europe.
Let's stick to gorgeous George.
Yeah.
Well, I was
Instead of
very disappointed
Invisible Gordon.
that he didn't get into Hollywood. Remember
Well, this is a very good point. That nobody south of the border seems to have picked up on. I picked up on it straight away. Here you have George Galloway. He's such a wonderful politician. He's a Scotsman. He stood in Glasgow at last year's Scottish elections and lost his deposit. He didn't even come in out of the car park to the count.
Yeah, but
his votes.
Very
was
simple
so
explanation
slow.
for that.
That's because why? Because there's an alternative in
Because he's a
Scotland.
staunch unionist.
No, but yes, well, there isn't it? You can't. But the thing is, in Scotland, you can vote for the SNP, as a proper
Yeah, but-
alternative party, social democratic party with principles.
Well, it's also a party that believes in, and like whatever they say, when the referendum comes through, they're all sitting there with their heads stuck somewhere warm and moist. And people are starting to look at Scotland, the people of Scotland, as a separate nation, a possibility of being a separate nation. And George is a staunch, rabid unionist. That's why they didn't vote for him. People of Scotland are not stupid, Stuart.
But will he make a difference as one voice in Westminster?
Entertainment-wise, definitely.
Well, that's why.
Well,
As a
that's true.
cartoonist, I was dying for him to get to Hollywood.
I'm going to really enjoy watching him in Westminster.
He'll be spearing both sides, and I'm sorry. I mean, the whole point is up to the speaker as well, whether he gets to talk, but then he can ask questions. And George will probably be, without a doubt, the best speaker. And he has a really arcane way of speaking, which nails you to the wall, straight through the spine. Very good.
I just hope that he's the one that's going to point out to everybody that they're all the same.
Oh, he will.
Well, that's what he has said.
Yeah.
That's what he said in his speech, in his victory speech.
They are, yeah. And I mean, they've been trying even now to have a go at him. You know, there's a bit in the paper about how his last wife says he hasn't divorced me now and he's just been in a wedding. You know, accusing him. But apart from his first two wives.
Oh, right, he's got married again.
Yeah, well, this is his fifth
Fourth.
wife.
Oh,
Fifth.
all right,
Fifth.
fifth. Okay.
He's had five weddings, but I think that's actually 4 wives because the second one was an Islamic until he married when he was married to Elaine Fife. And then he got an Islamic ceremony for his second wife, Amina Abu Zayed. And then after he got a decree absolute from Elaine Fife, he married Abu Zayed in a civic ceremony.
You've lost. No, sorry, Phil. You've lost me already.
Yeah.
What's the point of this?
No, the whole point is all his marriages, apart from his first 2, are Islamic marriages, which are not civic marriages, which are not recognised as marriages. And sorry, he's still got a couple to go. He can have 4.
Oh, okay.
And when he gets divorced, all he has to do is turn around 3 times and say, I divorce you, I divorce you, I divorce you. Although he still has an obligation to maintain his family and the woman.
Well, he can afford to do that by all accounts. He does very well on the suing people that
Well, he's never
defame him.
lost, has he?
No, he's never lost. He's never lost a libel case. Just look at George the wrong way, and your pockets are going.
So I'm looking forward to Gorgeous George in the House of Commons after the Easter break.
No, but it will be interesting because if you think you've had CIA, MI5, MI6, FBI, Mossad, BOSS, the combined investigative talents of all the nasty and not so nasty newspapers in the UK and America going after him, planting evidence in Baghdad, mind the little package with pink with George, you know, all that,
in an office.
planting money in one of his wife's accounts, saying that he'd been getting money from oil, the whole lot, all lies, everything else. And so George has never really done anything to deserve it, apart from speaking the truth. That's been his main.
Well, I think that's a great place to end this discussion.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, guys.